She told me I was replaceable while standing in our kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd just signed away everything she thought she owned. 3 hours earlier, I'd made her worst nightmare legal. But let me back up, because this story doesn't start with betrayal. It starts with a smile. The granite countertop felt cold under my palms. 20 years of mortgage payments, and the stone was still as smooth as the day we moved in. Claire stood across from me, her phone face down on that same counter, a habit she'd developed over the past few months. The wedding photo on the refrigerator behind her showed two people I barely recognized anymore. Younger, happier, honest. "Richard," she said, and her voice had that edge I'd learned to recognize. Sharp, impatient, done. "We need to talk about us." I looked at her, really looked. The woman I'd promised forever to had become a stranger who checked her phone at 2 a.m, smiling at a blue glow I wasn't part of anymore. "I'm listening," I said. She set her coffee down. Her nails clicked against the ceramic, manicured, expensive, paid for with our joint account. "This isn't working. You have to know that." "What isn't working?" "Us. This." She gestured around the kitchen at the life we'd built. "I need more than this, Richard. I need someone who makes me feel alive." The words hung between us like smoke. I could have asked what she meant, could have pretended I didn't already know, but I'd stopped pretending 3 weeks ago. "Alive," I repeated. The word tasted like metal. "And I make you feel what, exactly?" She looked away. "You're a good father, a good provider, but you're replaceable." There it was. The word she'd been holding back for months, finally spoken out loud in our kitchen at 7:30 on a Tuesday morning. Replaceable. Like a part in a machine. Like something worn out that needed upgrading. I smiled. She blinked, confused by my reaction. She'd expected tears, maybe. Anger, begging. She had no idea that 3 hours earlier I'd sat in Patricia Henderson's law office and made her worst nightmare legal with a single signature. "Replaceable," I said quietly. "That's an interesting word choice, Claire." Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, reflexively, and for just a second I saw that smile again, the one she saved for someone else. "I think we both know this has been over for a while," she said, already moving toward the door. "We can talk more later. I need to go." Book club, probably, or yoga, or whatever lie she was telling this week. I let her go, because the question wasn't whether she was leaving. The question was what she'd find when she tried to take everything I'd built with her. If you've ever been called replaceable by someone who swore forever, you know what that moment feels like. It's not dramatic, it's quiet. It's standing in your kitchen at 7:30 in the morning and realizing the person you loved most has already left. They just haven't moved out yet. If that resonates with you, leave "I understand" below. Because what happened next? Well, it's not about revenge. It's about protection. 3 weeks earlier, before that kitchen conversation, before the word replaceable became a weapon, I'd noticed the first crack. We were hosting a barbecue, nothing fancy, just Marcus, my best friend since college, and a few neighbors. Claire was on her phone again, standing by the deck railing, typing furiously and smiling at something I couldn't see. Marcus handed me a beer. "You okay, brother?" "Why wouldn't I be?" He nodded toward Claire. "Because your wife's been on that phone for 20 minutes and you're out here flipping burgers like everything's fine." I flipped a burger, watched the flames lick up around the meat. "She's stressed. Work stuff." "Richard," Marcus lowered his voice, "book club doesn't meet at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday." I stopped flipping. "What?" "Last week, I drove past the Riverside Inn around 11. Saw her car in the parking lot." He paused. "She told you she was at book club, right?" The Riverside Inn. Room rates started at $280 a night. Claire had come home at 1 a.m. that Wednesday, told me the book club discussion had run long, and gone straight to the shower. Maybe she was meeting someone there, I said, but the words felt hollow even as I said them. Maybe. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. Or maybe I'm wrong, but brother, if something's off, you need to know. He was right. I needed to know. So I started looking, not in an obvious way, not like those suspicious husbands in movies who hire private investigators and follow their wives around. I just paid attention. The credit card statements came first. I'd always handled our finances, so Claire never thought twice about the bills that arrived in my email. Riverside Inn, $280, Days Inn, $175. Another hotel I'd never heard of, $300 to $20. Sister's emergency, she'd said when I asked about one of them. I drove down to help her move some furniture. Her sister lived 3 states away, and she hadn't moved in years. I printed the statements, highlighted the charges, put them in a folder labeled Tax Documents 2024 in my filing cabinet. Because even then, some part of me knew I'd need proof. The phone records took more work. We shared a plan, family data, everything bundled together to save money. I logged into the account one night while Claire was in the shower, the third shower that week at 1 a.m, and downloaded 3 months of call logs. One number appeared 17 times, always after 9 p.m., always for at least 30 minutes. I ran it through a reverse lookup. Brad Morrison, Vice President of Sales at Claire's company. Brad, the name from Emma's diary. Mom's secret friend, Brad. I sat at my desk looking at that name, and something inside me shifted. Not broke, shifted. Like tectonic plates grinding against each other, preparing for the earthquake. The hotel she claimed was for her sister's emergency didn't have a reservation under any family name. The next morning, I asked Emma about her day while making breakfast. 8 years old, gap-toothed, still believed in Santa and true love and happily ever afters. Mom said she'd pick me up from dance on Thursday, Emma said, pouring too much syrup on her pancakes. But she didn't. Brad picked me up instead. My spatula froze mid-flip. Brad? Mom's friend from work. He has a really fancy car. She said it casually, the way kids talk about things that seem normal because they don't know any better. It was silver and really loud. Daniel walked in, 11 years old and already too perceptive for his age. He looked at me, then at Emma, and something passed across his face. Understanding. Sadness. Did you finish your homework? I asked him. Yeah. He grabbed a pancake with his hands, ignoring the plate I'd set out. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Are you and Mom okay? The question hit harder than Claire's replaceable would 3 weeks later, because Daniel knew. Somehow, without being told, without seeing the credit card bills, or the phone records, or the late-night showers, my 11-year-old son knew something was breaking. Why do you ask, buddy? He shrugged, picked at his pancake. Mom's always on her phone now, and she doesn't smile at dinner anymore. She just looks at her phone and smiles at that. Emma nodded, syrup on her chin. She used to read to me every night. Now she just says she's tired. I knelt down between their chairs, looked at both of them, my children, the 2 people I'd made promises to without speaking a word, promises that when I became their father, I'd protect them from everything, including the truth when it would hurt too much. Your mom and I are figuring some things out, I said carefully. But you two, you're perfect. And nothing that's happening between Mom and me is because of you. You understand that? Emma nodded, not understanding at all. Daniel looked at me with eyes older than 11. Is Mom leaving? I couldn't lie to him. I don't know, buddy, but I promise you, no matter what happens, I'm not going anywhere. That afternoon, I found Daniel's drawing in his backpack, a family portrait, 4 stick figures, me, Claire, Emma, Daniel, except Claire was scribbled out with black crayon, violent strokes covering her figure until only a dark smudge remained. Across the top, in his careful handwriting, "Our family." And underneath Claire's obliterated figure, "Gone." I sat on his bed holding that drawing for 20 minutes. The crayon BMW in the corner, Mom's friend Brad, written in blocky letters. The careful way he'd drawn me with my arm around Emma. The absolute certainty in those black crayon marks that his mother had already left, even if her body was still in the house. Kids don't lie about who makes them feel safe. They just draw the truth and hope someone notices. I folded the drawing carefully, put it in my wallet, and I knew what I had to do. Patricia Henderson's law office smelled like old books and lemon furniture polish. She'd been practicing family law for 30 years, had a reputation for being ruthless when protecting kids, and charged $400 an hour. I'd called her 2 days after finding Daniel's drawing. "Mr. Harper," she said, gesturing to the leather chair across from her desk. "You mentioned on the phone you need help with asset protection?" I sat, put the folder on her desk. "My wife is having an affair. I have proof. Credit cards, phone records, witness statements from my children." Patricia opened the folder, scanned the highlighted charges, the call logs. Her expression didn't change. She'd seen this story 1,000 times before. "And you want a divorce?" "I want to protect my children." I pulled out the second folder. "This is the deed to our house, bought 20 years ago. Current appraisal is $1.2 million. We have about $200,000 left on the mortgage." "Joint ownership?" "Yes, both our names on the title." Patricia leaned back, steepled her fingers. "Mr. Harper, in a divorce, marital property is typically split 50-50. The house would be... I want to transfer it to my children." She stopped, looked at me, really looked. "A quitclaim deed," I continued, "transferring full ownership to Emma and Daniel through an irrevocable trust. No way to reverse it. No way for Claire to claim it in a divorce settlement." "That's aggressive." "She's going to ask for the house. She's going to claim she needs it for the children's stability. And then she's going to move her boyfriend into the home I've paid for." I met Patricia's eyes. "I'm not letting that happen." Patricia pulled out a legal pad, started writing. "This would mean you give up ownership too. The house would belong to your children. You'd essentially be renting from them, technically speaking." "I know. If the divorce gets ugly, Claire could argue you hid assets. A judge might not like it." "The house isn't an asset I'm hiding. It's an inheritance I'm giving my children early. Perfectly legal, irrevocable, and filed 3 weeks before I even mentioned divorce." Patricia smiled. It was the smile of someone who'd seen nice people get destroyed in divorce court and occasionally enjoyed helping them fight back. "This will work," she said. "But once you sign this, there's no undo button, Richard. You're giving away a $1.2 million asset. Are you certain?" I thought about Emma asking why Mommy didn't smile at us anymore, about Daniel's drawing with his mother scribbled out in black crayon, about Claire standing in our kitchen 3 weeks from now, telling me I was replaceable. "I'm certain." Patricia pulled up the paperwork on her computer. The quit-claim deed form appeared on screen. Official, legal, permanent. She filled in the blanks. Richard Michael Harper and Claire Elizabeth Harper, grantors. Emma Claire Harper and Daniel James Harper, grantees. Permanent and irrevocable. She printed 3 copies, set them in front of me with a notary stamp ready. "This goes into effect the moment you sign and we file it with the county." Patricia said, "You'll need to pay off the mortgage. Can you do that?" "I have enough in my 401k. I'll take the early withdrawal penalty." That's a significant financial hit." "So is losing my children's home to my wife's boyfriend." Patricia picked up her notary stamp. "Sign here and here. Initial here." The paper was heavy. High-quality legal stock. The kind that survives years in filing cabinets and courthouse basements. The kind that lasts. I signed, dated it October 3rd, 2024, 2 to 17 p.m. Patricia notarized it, made copies, put the original in an envelope marked County Recorder. I'll file this today, she said. It'll be public record by morning. And Richard? Yes? You're a good father. Not many men would give up everything to protect their kids before the fight even started. I looked at the deed. My signature in blue ink, permanent, irrevocable. She told me I'm replaceable, I said quietly. I'm about to show her exactly what that word costs. Patricia walked me to the door, shook my hand. Call me when you're ready to file for divorce. I have a feeling we're going to need a strategy for what comes next. I left her office at 3:15, drove home, made dinner for Emma and Daniel, spaghetti and meatballs, their favorite. Helped Emma with her math homework, watched Daniel practice soccer in the backyard. At 7:30, Claire came home, smiled at her phone, barely looked at the kids. And I knew, absolutely knew, that in 3 weeks she'd stand in our kitchen and tell me I was replaceable. And when she did, I'd smile. Because 3 hours before that conversation, I'd made her worst nightmare legal with a single signature on heavy paper that would last forever. 3 weeks passed like watching ice melt. Slow, inevitable, cold. I didn't confront Claire, didn't ask about Brad or the hotels or the phone calls that lasted until midnight. I just watched, documented, and prepared. The voice recorder was small enough to fit in my shirt pocket, cost $40 on Amazon, came with a USB cable and 16 gigabytes of storage, enough for 40 hours of crystal clear audio. I tested it twice, once recording myself reading the newspaper, once recording the kids playing in the backyard. The quality was perfect. Every word, every laugh, every lie. On the 21st day after signing the quitclaim deed, I put the recorder in my pocket at 6 a.m., hit record, and waited for Claire to come downstairs. She appeared at 7:15, already dressed for work, black skirt, white blouse, heels that clicked against our hardwood floors. Her phone was in her hand before she'd even poured coffee. Claire, I said, sit down. She looked up, surprised. I have a meeting at 8. Sit down. Something in my voice made her stop. She set her coffee on the counter, our granite countertop, cold and smooth, and stayed standing. What's this about? I pulled out the folder, the same one I'd shown Patricia. Credit card statements with hotels highlighted in yellow. Phone records with Brad's number circled in red. Printed screenshots of text messages I'd recovered from our cloud backup, messages she thought she'd deleted. I can't wait to start our life together, read one. Blue bubble. Heart emoji, sent at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. He doesn't suspect anything, read another. God, I can't believe I wasted 20 years. I spread them across the counter like playing cards. Evidence, proof, truth. Claire's face went white, then red, then carefully blank. You went through my phone. Our family cloud account, everything backed up automatically. I tapped the hotel receipts. The Riverside Inn, room 412, $289. You told me it was for your sister's emergency. Richard, the Days Inn, $175. Book club ran late. You said. I can explain. Brad Morrison, Vice President of Sales, 17 calls in 3 months, each one over 30 minutes, all after 9 p.m. I looked at her, the stranger in my kitchen. Explain that. She grabbed her phone like a life raft, started typing. I watched her hands shake. Who are you texting? I asked quietly. That's none of your business. Is it Brad? Are you telling him I know? Her thumb froze over the screen. Does he know you're still married? I continued. Does he know that Emma asked me why Mommy doesn't smile at us anymore? Does he know that Daniel drew a picture of our family and scribbled you out because even an 11-year-old can see you've already left? Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't bring the kids into this. You brought them into it when you had your boyfriend pick Emma up from dance class. She actually flinched. That was one time his fancy silver car, the one that's really loud. Emma loved it, thought it was cool that Mommy's work friend drove a BMW M5. I leaned forward. Did you think they wouldn't notice? Did you think they wouldn't tell me? Claire set her phone down, crossed her arms, and I watched her transform from defensive to defiant in the span of a heartbeat. You want to know the truth, Richard? Fine. Yes, I've been seeing Brad. Yes, I've been unhappy. And yes, she looked me straight in the eye. I'm done pretending this marriage is something it hasn't been for years. What hasn't it been? Alive. The word came out sharp, final. Brad makes me feel alive. He's exciting. He's successful. He doesn't just exist. He lives. And I just exist. You're comfortable. You're safe. She searched for the word, found it. You're replaceable, Richard. Brad makes me feel like I matter, like I'm not just someone's wife and someone's mother, like I'm actually worth something. The recorder in my pocket captured every word, every inflection, every moment of her telling me I was worth less than the man who drove the loud car and paid for hotel rooms. Replaceable, I repeated. I didn't want to hurt you, but you did for months. While I was making breakfast and helping with homework and paying the mortgage on the house you were planning to... I stopped, smiled. Tell me something, Claire. When you move Brad in here, which room will he take? The master bedroom, or were you thinking of renovating? She blinked. What? The house. Our house. The one worth $1.2 million. The one you've been planning to keep when you divorce me. I tilted my head. Because that is where this is going, right? Divorce, custody fight, you get the house, I get weekends with the kids, Brad becomes the fun stepdad with the fancy car. Richard, That was the plan, wasn't it? She didn't answer, didn't need to. The answer was in her silence, in the way her hand moved toward her phone, in the text I knew she was dying to send. He knows, we need to talk. I want a divorce, she said finally. And yes, I'll be asking for primary custody. The children need stability. They need their home. Their home. Yes, I'm not going to uproot them because you're hurt and angry. I laughed, actually laughed, and Claire looked at me like I'd lost my mind. What's so funny? You. This. The fact that you actually think... I shook my head. You know what? You're right. The kids do need stability. They do need their home, and they're going to keep it. Good. Then we agree. But you're not. She stared at me. What are you talking about? You'll find out. I picked up the evidence, slid it back into the folder. I'm taking the kids to Marcus's this weekend. When we get back, I want you moved into the guest room. This marriage is over, Claire, but we're going to do this right. Lawyers, mediation, everything legal and clean. You can't just kick me out of my own bedroom. Your boyfriend pick you up. Brad makes you feel alive? Great. Feel alive somewhere else, but not in the home I've protected for our children. I walked to the door, turned back. Oh, and Claire, you said I'm replaceable. You're about to find out what that word really means. I left her standing in the kitchen, phone in hand, face white with anger and confusion. The recorder in my pocket caught it all, every single word. Brad arrived 20 minutes later. I was in the living room when I heard the engine, deep, aggressive, expensive. The BMW M5 pulled into my driveway like it owned the place, silver paint gleaming in the morning sun. The vanity plate read, Brad M5. Of course it did. He got out like he was stepping onto a red carpet. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. The kind of man who measured success in horsepower and square footage. Claire met him at the door before he could knock. I watched through the window as she fell into his arms, dramatic and desperate. He held her, stroked her hair, whispered something that made her nod. Then he looked at the house. My house. The one I'd built equity in for 20 years. and he smiled. I opened the door before he could knock. "You must be Brad." He straightened, extended his hand like we were meeting at a networking event. "Brad Morrison. I'm a friend of Claire's." Friend. I didn't take his hand. That's one word for it. His smile tightened. "Look, Richard, can I call you Richard? I know this is awkward. Awkward. Another interesting word choice." I looked past him at the BMW. "Nice car. Emma says it's really loud." That got him. His smile faltered. "Claire's going through a difficult time," he said, recovering. "She needs support. Someone who understands, someone who can provide the life she wants?" I quoted. "That's what you told her, right? That she deserves someone who can provide?" Brad glanced at Claire, back at me. His confidence was slipping. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he said. "I just think Claire deserves to be happy. She deserves someone who appreciates her in hotel rooms at $289 a night on my credit card." His jaw tightened. "She's leaving you, Richard. You can't stop that. The question is whether you're going to make this ugly or accept reality." Reality? I looked at him. Really looked. Saw the man who'd picked my daughter up from dance class, who'd sent text messages to my wife at midnight, who'd smiled at the house like he was already planning which walls to knock down during the renovation. Here's reality, Brad. You're standing in a driveway that leads to a house you'll never own. You're holding a woman who thought I was replaceable, and you have no idea what you've just walked into. Is that a threat? No, it's a fact. Claire pulled at his arm. "Brad, let's go. This isn't worth it." He looked at her, at me, at the house one more time. "She's too good for you anyway," he said. I smiled. "We'll see." They got into the BMW. The engine roared. Emma was right. It was really loud, and they drove away. Marcus stepped out from around the side of the house. "You got all that?" I asked. He held up his phone. Video recording. Clear shot of Brad's face, his car, everything. "Every word," Marcus said. "Brother, you're playing chess while they're playing checkers." "I'm not playing anything. I'm protecting my kids. By giving them the house. By making sure their mother can't take it from them." Marcus clapped my shoulder. "You need anything, you call me, day or night. I need you to be here this weekend when I tell Emma and Daniel." His expression softened. "Ah, man. You're telling them?" "They already know something's wrong. Daniel's been asking if Mom is leaving. Emma stopped asking why Mommy doesn't read to her anymore." I looked at my house, the windows reflecting morning sun, 20 years of mortgage payments. They deserve the truth, age-appropriate, but truth. "I'll be here," Marcus said, "whatever you need." Saturday afternoon, Emma and Daniel sat on the couch, sensing something important was about to happen. Kids always know. Marcus sat in the armchair, present but quiet. A witness, support. I knelt in front of them, eye level, the way you're supposed to talk to children about things that will change their lives. "Guys, we need to talk about something hard." Emma's eyes went wide. "Are you sick?" "No, baby, I'm fine." I took a breath. "But Mom and we're not going to be married anymore." Silence. Daniel stared at the floor. Emma looked at me like I just told her Santa wasn't real. "You're getting divorced?" Daniel's voice was flat, already protecting himself. "Yes. Because of Brad," he said. Not a question. "Because Mom and I want different things now. And sometimes when that happens, it's better to live separately than stay together and be unhappy." Emma started crying. Not loud, just tears running down her face while she sat perfectly still. "Daddy, did we do something wrong?" The question broke something in my chest. "No." I pulled her into my arms. "No, baby, nothing about this is your fault. You and Daniel are perfect. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. This is about Mom and me, not about you." "But we're a family," Emma sobbed into my shoulder. "Families stay together." Some families look different, I said, but that doesn't mean we love you less. You're still our kids. We're still your parents. That never changes. Daniel wiped his eyes with his sleeve, trying not to cry, failing. Where will we live? He asked. Here, in this house. This is your home. That won't change. What about Mom? Mom will find her own place, but you'll see her. We'll figure out a schedule that works. Daniel stood up, walked to his backpack, pulled out a piece of paper. It was the drawing, the one I'd found weeks ago. Our family with Claire scribbled out in black crayon. I already knew, he said, handing it to me. I drew this a month ago. I looked at the violent black strokes covering his mother's figure, the careful way he'd drawn Emma and me together, the BMW in the corner with Brad written above it. You knew about Brad. I heard Mom on the phone one night. She said she couldn't wait to start her life with him. I didn't know what it meant, but he shrugged, 11 years old and already carrying knowledge no child should have. I figured it out. Emma pulled back from my shoulder, reached into her pocket, pulled out a folded piece of paper, red construction paper, glitter hearts in the corners. I wrote this at school, she whispered. For Christmas, we were supposed to write letters to Santa. I unfolded it, saw her careful second-grade handwriting. Dear Santa, it read. I don't want toys this year. I just wish Mommy and Daddy would be happy again. I wish Mommy would read to me like she used to. I wish we could be a real family. Love, Emma. P.S. A doll would be okay too. The date at the top, December the 10th, 2023, almost a year ago. Emma had known something was wrong almost a year ago. I pulled both of them close, felt their small bodies shaking against mine. And I made a promise without speaking it aloud. I would protect them from everything I could, but I wouldn't lie to them, not about this. It's going to be okay, I said. I promise. It's going to hurt for a while, but we're going to be okay. Daniel nodded against my chest. Emma just cried. And Marcus sat in the chair, tears running down his face, witnessing the moment my children's childhood ended and something harder began. If you've ever had to choose between staying together for the kids or showing them what self-respect looks like, you know there's no easy answer. Some people say parents should stay married no matter what. Others say kids need to see healthy boundaries. What do you think? Comment stay or leave, because this choice shapes everything that comes next. Claire filed for divorce on Monday. Her lawyer was exactly what I expected. Cheap suit, aggressive smile, the kind of attorney who advertised on bus benches and promised to fight for what you deserve. His name was Gary Feldman. He'd sent the papers via courier service, hand-delivered at 8 a.m. while I was making breakfast. The petition was 12 pages long. I read it standing at the counter, coffee going cold, while Emma and Daniel ate cereal and tried to pretend everything was normal. Page 3 made my jaw tighten. Petitioner requests primary physical custody of minor children Emma Claire Harper and Daniel James Harper with supervised visitation for respondent. Supervised visitation, like I was a danger to my own kids. Page 7 was worse. Petitioner requests exclusive use and possession of the marital residence located at 847 Maple Grove Drive, valued at approximately $200,000 to maintain stability for minor children. Exclusive possession. The house. She wanted the house. Page 9 detailed her claims. Respondent has demonstrated financial irresponsibility and erratic behavior, including secretive actions regarding marital assets. Secretive actions. She meant the quitclaim deed she knew. I called Patricia. They filed, I said. I know, I got a courtesy copy from opposing counsel. She sounded amused. Mr. Feldman is ambitious. He's claiming I'm financially irresponsible, wants supervised visitation. Standard aggressive filing. He's trying to intimidate you into a bad settlement. And the house? Patricia paused. About that. Did you tell Claire about the quitclaim? No. Then how did Feldman find out? It's public record, county recorder's office. Which means he did his homework. Patricia's tone shifted. Richard, we need to meet. Today, if possible, because what happens next is going to be interesting. I met her at 2 p.m. Her office still smelled like lemon polish and old books. They're going to argue you hid assets, Patricia said, spreading documents across her desk. Feldman's petition claims you secretly transferred marital property to avoid equitable distribution. I didn't hide anything. I gave my children their inheritance early. I know, and legally, you're clean. The house was transferred before divorce proceedings. No requirement to disclose gifts to your children, but it looks bad. It looks calculated. She smiled, which it was. And that's going to make opposing counsel very angry. She pulled out an email, printed and highlighted, from Gary Feldman to Patricia Henderson. Subject R.E. Harper v. Harper Asset Disclosure. Patricia, my client has just discovered your client transferred the marital residence, valued at $1 2 sourts, to the minor children 3 weeks prior to our divorce filing. This appears to be a deliberate attempt to hide assets and deny my client her rightful share of marital property. We demand immediate reversal of this transfer and full accounting of all marital assets. If your client refuses, we will pursue sanctions for asset concealment. Your client is going to learn some expensive lessons about marital property law. Regards, Gary Feldman, Espux. I read it twice. He's threatening sanctions. He's bluffing. But that last line, expensive lessons, that's personal. He's taking this personally. Patricia leaned back. Which means our mediation next week is going to be very entertaining. Entertaining. Richard, your wife is trying to take a house that no longer exists in the marital estate. She's essentially trying to sue your children for their own home. Patricia's smile widened. And when we explain that in mediation with a court reporter present, I want you to remember something. What? You already won. This is just the victory lap. The mediation room was small, beige walls, conference table, coffee that tasted like cardboard. Claire sat on one side with Feldman. Patricia and I sat across from them. A mediator, older woman named Susan Barnes, sat at the head of the table. Feldman opened with confidence. Let's cut to the chase. My client is entitled to 50% of all marital assets, including the house. The house isn't a marital asset, Patricia said calmly. Excuse me? Patricia slid a document across the table. The quitclaim deed, filed October 3rd, 2024, 2:17 p.m., county recorder's stamp, official, permanent, irrevocable. The house at 847 Maple Grove Drive is owned by Emma Claire Harper and Daniel James Harper through an irrevocable trust. It has not been marital property for, she checked her watch, 23 days. Feldman's face went red. You can't do that. He already did, Patricia said pleasantly. Claire grabbed the deed, read it. Her hands started shaking. This isn't legal, she said. You can't just give away our house. I can give my children their inheritance whenever I choose, I said. The house is theirs. It was always meant to be theirs. You did this to punish me. I did this to protect them. Feldman jabbed his finger at the deed. This is asset concealment. We'll file a motion to reverse. On what grounds? Patricia cut in. The transfer occurred before divorce proceedings. It was a gift to the client's children, perfectly legal, and since it's in an irrevocable trust, even Richard can't undo it. You're trying to deny my client her share of a house owned by her children? Patricia raised an eyebrow. Mr. Feldman, are you suggesting your client sue her own minor children for possession of their home? Silence. The mediator cleared her throat. Miss Henderson makes a valid point. If the property was legally transferred prior to divorce filing, and if the transfer was legitimate, of course it was legitimate, Patricia said. The quitclaim deed is public record. The trust documents are filed with the state. Everything is documented, legal, and irrevocable. Claire stood up. You son of a bitch. Sit down, Mrs. Harper, Susan said firmly. He stole our house. I gave our children their home, I corrected. There's a difference. You did this because you knew I'd want it. I did this because I knew you'd try to take it and move Brad into the house I spent 20 years paying for while you... I stopped. Took a breath. The house belongs to Emma and Daniel, not you, not me, not Brad, them. Feldman was scanning the deed, searching for loopholes, finding none. You'll still owe her half the equity, he said finally. Fair market value minus outstanding mortgage, that's approximately $500,000. Which I'm happy to pay out over time, per the settlement agreement. Patricia slid another document across, with reasonable terms and interest. Claire sank back into her chair, stared at the deed like it was a death certificate. The house you're demanding belongs to your children now, Patricia said gently, and unless you want to explain to a judge why you're trying to take your children's home away from them, I'd suggest we move on to custody arrangements and support calculations. Feldman whispered something to Claire. She shook her head, whispered back. We need a recess, Feldman said. Of course, Susan said. 20 minutes. They left the room. I heard Claire's voice in the hallway, rising in anger. Feldman's quieter responses. Patricia poured herself coffee. That went well. She's furious. She should be. She just realized she's not getting what she wanted. Patricia met my eyes. And that expensive lessons comment from Feldman's email, he just learned one himself. When Claire and Feldman came back, the fight had gone out of them. My client is willing to discuss custody arrangements, Feldman said stiffly, and just like that, I knew. She'd called Brad, told him the house was gone, and Brad, predictable, reliable Brad, had started calculating the cost-benefit ratio of staying with a woman who just lost $1 million asset. No house, no leverage, just consequences. Brad's text came 3 days later. I didn't see it. Claire did. But Marcus did. Because Claire forwarded it to her friend Jennifer, and Jennifer's husband played poker with Marcus, and some secrets aren't secrets for long. Marcus showed me the screenshot over coffee. This is more complicated than I signed up for. I think we need to take a step back. Some space to figure things out. You understand, right? Gray text bubble. The color of messages that end relationships. Below it, another text. I'll always care about you, but with everything going on with Richard and the house situation, I just think it's better if we cool things off for now. Marcus set his phone down. Brad Morrison, ladies and gentlemen, Vice President of Sales, expert at cutting losses. When did she get this? This morning. Jennifer said Claire's been calling him nonstop. He's not answering. I sipped my coffee. Felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication. Just the quiet certainty that everything Claire had burned down for was turning to ash in her hands. That's not love, Marcus said quietly. That was an investment portfolio, and when the returns dried up, so did he. She believed him, though, believed he'd stay. Because he told her what she wanted to hear, that she deserved better, that she was special, that her boring husband couldn't give her the life she wanted. Marcus shook his head. Turns out Brad was allergic to women who couldn't pay their half. The BMW's gone, I said. What? Drove past her apartment yesterday, no silver M5 in the parking lot, just her Camry, alone. Marcus raised his coffee cup to expensive lessons. I didn't toast, because this wasn't about Brad leaving or Claire suffering. It was about what happened next. The custody hearing, 2 weeks away, where a judge would decide if my children stayed with me or got split between two broken homes, where Emma and Daniel would have to explain in their own words where they felt safest. And no part of me wanted to put them through that. The courthouse smelled like floor wax and anxiety. Judge Rebecca Martinez presided over Family Court Division C, 20 years on the bench, reputation for being tough but fair, no patience for parents who put their own drama ahead of their children's well-being. We sat on opposite sides of the courtroom, Claire with Feldman, me with Patricia, and in the middle, in chairs too big for them, Emma and Daniel. They'd been interviewed separately by Dr. Sarah Chen, the court-appointed child advocate, 30 minutes each, private conversations, the kind where kids could tell the truth without their parents listening. Dr. Chen's report was sealed until today. Judge Martinez opened it. Read in silence. Her expression didn't change. "Mr. Feldman," she said finally, "your client is seeking primary custody based on her claim that she's been the children's primary caregiver. Is that correct?" Feldman stood. "Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Harper has been present for the children's daily care, school activities, medical appointments." "And yet," Judge Martinez interrupted, "Dr. Chen's report paints a different picture. Would you like to know what your client's children said about her?" Feldman hesitated. "Your Honor," 8-year-old Emma Harper stated, and I quote, "Mommy is always on her phone now. She doesn't read to me anymore. She says she's too tired, but then she smiles at her phone in the dark." End quote. Claire's face went white. 11-year-old Daniel Harper stated, "Dad never missed a soccer game, not one. Mom missed 7 this season. She said she had to work late, but I saw her car at a restaurant once when I was with Grandma. She was with a man who wasn't Dad." The courtroom was silent except for the court reporter's keyboard clicking. Dr. Chen also notes that when asked where they feel safest, both children answered immediately and without hesitation, "With Dad." Judge Martinez looked up, and when asked why, Emma provided this. She held up a photograph. I couldn't see it from where I sat, but I knew what it was. The bedtime reading photo, the one Emma had carried in her backpack since the separation. The picture of me reading to her, both of us in pajamas, her head on my shoulder, absolutely safe. Emma Harper told Dr. Chen, "This is when I'm happy, when Daddy reads to me, and I don't have to worry about anything." Judge Martinez set the photo down. "That's not the statement of a child who needs supervised visitation with her father, Mr. Feldman. Your Honor, children often express preferences based on who makes them feel loved and secure. I've been doing this for 20 years, Mr. Feldman, and in my experience, children don't lie about who makes them feel safe. They don't perform or manipulate. They just tell you the truth." She turned to Claire. "Mrs. Harper, I've read your petition. You claim you want custody to maintain stability for your children. But according to Dr. Chen's interviews, your children haven't felt stable in over a year. They've watched you withdraw, watched you prioritize your phone over them, watched you bring another man into their lives before ending your marriage to their father. Your Honor, Claire's voice broke. "I'm not finished." Judge Martinez's tone was sharp. "You're not a bad mother, but you made choices that put your needs ahead of your children's emotional security. And now you want to uproot them from their father, the parent who's been consistently present, because you believe you're entitled to primary custody. Based on what? Your gender?" "No, Then based on what? Because these children are telling me clearly and repeatedly that they want to stay with their father in their home. The home that is now legally theirs, by the way, an interesting piece of asset protection that actually demonstrates Mr. Harper's commitment to his children's security." Patricia didn't move, didn't smile, just sat perfectly still. "Here's my ruling," Judge Martinez said. Primary physical custody goes to Richard Harper. Claire Harper will have visitation every other weekend and one evening per week to be scheduled around the children's activities. No overnight guests during visitation until the children express comfort with that arrangement. Child support will be calculated based on standard guidelines. Any questions? Feldman opened his mouth, closed it, shook his head. Good. Because I'm going to say something off the record, and I want you both to hear it. Judge Martinez leaned forward. Your children didn't ask for this divorce. They didn't ask to be put in the middle of your conflicts. They asked for parents who would put them first. Mr. Harper did that. Mrs. Harper, I hope you'll do the same going forward. She banged her gavel. We're adjourned. I found Emma and Daniel in the hallway with Dr. Chen. Emma was crying. Daniel was staring at the floor, jaw set, trying not to. I knelt down, pulled them both close. You were so brave, I whispered. Both of you. Is it over? Emma asked against my shoulder. The court part is over, yeah. Are we going home? To our real home? Yes, baby, we're going home. Daniel pulled back, looked at me with those two old eyes. Mom's mad, isn't she? Mom's hurt, but that's not your fault. You told the truth. That's all anyone asked you to do. I didn't want to hurt her. I know, buddy, but sometimes the truth hurts. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be told. He nodded, wiped his eyes. Dr. Chen squeezed my shoulder. Your kids are resilient, Mr. Harper. They're going to be okay. It might take time, but they're going to be okay. Thank you, I said, for listening to them. That's the easy part. They made it very clear what they needed. She smiled at Emma and Daniel. You two have a great dad. Don't forget that. We left the courthouse together, 3 of us, walking toward the parking lot where Marcus was waiting. Behind us, I heard Claire's voice, calling my name. I stopped, turned. She stood at the top of the courthouse steps, alone. Feldman had already left. Her mascara was smudged. Her hands were shaking. Richard, please, can we talk? I looked at Emma and Daniel. Go wait with Uncle Marcus, okay? I'll be right there. They went reluctantly. Emma looking back every few steps. Claire walked down to meet me, kept her distance, like she was afraid I'd turn away if she got too close. I'm sorry, she said. 2 words, too little, too late. For which part? I asked. The affair, the lies, calling me replaceable, or trying to take the house away from our children? All of it. Tears ran down her face. I was angry. I was selfish. I thought I wanted something different, and I destroyed everything. Yes, you did. Brad's gone. Did you know that? He stopped returning my calls the day he found out about the house. Just disappeared, like I never mattered. You didn't. Not to him. She flinched. I know that now. What do you want from me, Claire? Forgiveness? Sympathy? I want... She took a shaky breath. I want to know if there's any way we could try again. Start over. For the kids. I stared at her. The woman I'd loved for 20 years. The stranger who'd called me replaceable. The mother of my children who'd chosen excitement over commitment. No, I said quietly. Richard, I forgive you, Claire. I do. Because holding on to anger will just poison me, and our kids don't deserve a bitter father. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean pretending this didn't happen. I made a mistake. You made a choice. For months. Every late-night phone call. Every hotel room. Every time you smiled at your phone instead of our children. Those were choices. And choices have consequences. So that's it? We're just done? We were done the morning you stood in our kitchen and told me I was replaceable. I met her eyes. You didn't just replace me, Claire. You replaced the mother Emma and Daniel knew, the one who read bedtime stories and showed up to soccer games and made them feel like they mattered more than a text message. She covered her face with her hands, sobbed. I don't hate you, I said. I don't even blame you for wanting more than what we had. But I won't forget what you taught our children about promises, about what happens when you break them. What am I supposed to do now? Be their mother. Show up for visitation. Don't badmouth me to them. Let them heal. I turned toward the parking lot. And maybe figure out who you are when you're not chasing something that makes you feel alive. Because Claire, you were alive. You just stopped noticing. I walked away. She called after me once. I didn't turn back because this wasn't about reconciliation or redemption. It was about reality. No reconciliation, no redemption, just reality. 1 year later, the kitchen looked the same granite countertop, cold and smooth under my palms. Same refrigerator with magnets holding school artwork and soccer schedules. But the wedding photo was gone. In its place, a new picture, 4 people, me, Emma, Daniel, and Marcus, taken at Emma's 9th birthday party. Everyone laughing, no one missing. Emma was making pancakes, well, trying to, flour on her nose, batter everywhere. Dad, I think I added too much milk. Probably, but that's okay. We'll make them work. Daniel sat at the table, doing homework. High school entrance exam prep. 6th grade already, growing too fast. Uncle Marcus is still coming to parent-teacher night, right? He asked. Wouldn't miss it, Marcus called from the living room. He'd started coming over for dinner twice a week, had become the consistent adult presence that filled the gaps. Good, because I want him to meet Ms. Peterson. She's cool. Emma flipped a pancake. It landed half on the pan, half on the counter. She giggled. I'm terrible at this. You're learning. That's different than terrible. She looked up at me, smiled, the same gap-toothed smile, but happier now, lighter. Dad? Yeah, baby? I'm glad we're here, in this house. I was scared we'd have to move. This is your house, Emma, yours and Daniel's. That's never changing. I know, but I'm still glad. Daniel closed his textbook. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think Mom's okay? The question I'd been expecting for a year, the one that meant my kids were healing enough to worry about someone beyond themselves. I think Mom's figuring things out, I said carefully. She made mistakes, she's learning from them, and she loves you both very much. But she's not coming back. Nobody, she's not. He nodded, processing, accepting. That's okay, he said finally. I mean, it's sad, but it's okay because we're okay. Emma abandoned her pancakes, came over and hugged me. We're better than okay, she said. We're home. And she was right. Standing in that kitchen, the same granite, the same refrigerator, the same walls that had witnessed the word replaceable being spoken like a weapon, everything was different. Because I was different. The kids were different. We'd survived the earthquake and rebuilt on stronger ground. Marcus wandered in, holding a picture frame. Found this in the craft room. Emma, did you make this? It was watercolor. Bright colors. 4 figures. Me, Emma, Daniel, and Marcus. We were holding hands. Above us, in careful letters, my dad is my hero. Below it, my family. Emma beamed. I made it in art class. We were supposed to paint our families. Ms. Rodriguez said I could include whoever I wanted. It's perfect, Marcus said, voice tight. Where should we hang it? Emma pointed to the refrigerator. Next to the other one, so we can see both. Marcus hung it carefully, stepped back, 2 pictures, side by side, the new family and the old, not erasing the past, just acknowledging that families change shape. And sometimes the new shape fits better. The doorbell rang. That's probably your mom, I said. She's picking you guys up for the weekend. Emma and Daniel grabbed their overnight bags. No drama, no tears, just routine. Claire stood on the porch. She looked different, thinner, tired, but present. Really present, in a way she hadn't been in years. Hey guys, she said. Hi, Mom. Emma hugged her. Daniel followed. Claire looked at me over their heads. Thank you for being flexible with the schedule. I know I asked to switch days. It's fine. The kids wanted to go to Marcus's game with me, so this worked out better anyway. How are you? She asked quietly. Good, we're good. She nodded, saw the new picture on the refrigerator through the open door. Her expression flickered, pain, acceptance, something between. That's beautiful, she said. Emma always loved art. Still does. She's taking a class on Saturdays now. I'd like to take her sometime, if that's okay. Ask her. If she wants to, sure. Claire loaded the kids into her car, waved, drove away. Marcus came up beside me. She looks better. She's trying. That's something. You could have made this harder on her, you know. The custody agreement gives you a lot of power. It's not about power. It's about the kids having a mother who shows up. Even if she's not with me, she's still their mom. Marcus clapped my shoulder. You're a better man than most. I'm just a dad trying to do right by his kids. That night, after Marcus left and the house was quiet, I went to my office, pulled out a sealed envelope from my desk drawer. The front read, in my handwriting, for Emma and Daniel. Open when you're 18. Inside was a letter, 3 pages. Everything I wanted them to know when they were old enough to understand. I'd written it 6 months after the divorce was final. When the anger had faded, when the lessons had crystallized, I opened it, read it one more time. Dear Emma and Daniel, if you're reading this, you're 18. Maybe you're about to leave for college. Maybe you're starting your first real job. Maybe you're thinking about your own relationships, your own futures. I wanted to write this now while everything is still fresh, so that someday you'd understand what happened and why. When your mother and I divorced, it wasn't because we didn't love you. It was because we stopped being able to love each other the way marriage requires. Your mom wanted something different, something I couldn't give her. And instead of talking about it, instead of working through it, she looked elsewhere. That hurt. It still does, if I'm honest. But I've learned that hurt is just proof that something mattered. And your mom mattered to me for a long time. The house, the one you grew up in, the one that's legally yours now, I signed it over to you before the divorce was final. Not to hurt your mother, not to punish her, but to protect you. Because I knew she'd want it, and I knew her boyfriend at the time would see it as a prize to win. And I couldn't let the home we built become a trophy in someone else's game. I did it because homes aren't just walls and roofs. They're where you feel safe, where you do homework at the kitchen table and make pancakes on Saturday mornings, where Uncle Marcus comes for dinner and you can be exactly who you are without performing or pretending. Your mother called me replaceable. And for a long time, that word haunted me, made me question everything I'd done, everything I was. But here's what I learned. You're not replaceable. You never were. And anyone who makes you feel that way in friendship, in romance, in any relationship, doesn't deserve you. Love isn't about finding someone who makes you feel alive. It's about being alive together. Building something that matters more than excitement or passion or whatever temporary feeling people chase when they're bored. The house was just walls. But you two? You're my home. You're the reason I fought. The reason I stayed present. The reason I didn't let anger turn me bitter. When you're 18, you'll face your own choices about who to trust, who to love, who to let into your life. And I hope you'll remember this. Choose people who choose you back every day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard. Choose people who show up, not just when it's convenient, but when it costs them something. Choose people who keep their promises, especially the small ones, because small promises kept are how you know the big promises will hold. And if someone tells you you're replaceable, whether it's a partner, a friend, a boss, believe them and walk away. Because you deserve people who know your worth, even when you forget it yourself. I love you both. More than words can say, more than any letter can hold. You were never supposed to carry the weight of your mother's choices or my pain. You were just supposed to be kids, and I'm sorry you had to grow up faster than you should have, but look what you became. Strong, kind, resilient. You turned pain into compassion. You learned that families don't have to look one way to be real. Uncle Marcus? He's family. Not because of blood, but because he showed up, because he chose us, and we chose him back. That's the lesson I hope you carry. Family is whoever stays, whoever keeps showing up, whoever makes you feel like you belong exactly as you are. The house is yours. But more importantly, you're yours. You belong to yourselves. And no one gets to tell you you're replaceable. I'm proud of you, both of you, always. Love, Dad P.S. The pancakes Emma tried to make when she was 9. I saved a photo. You both laughed so hard that day. Hold on to that. Hold on to the laughter. It's what gets you through. I folded the letter, sealed it again, put it back in the drawer. Someday they'd read it. Someday they'd understand. But for now, they were just kids, doing homework and painting pictures and learning that home wasn't a place you could lose. It was the people who loved you, the ones who stayed. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself water, stood at that granite countertop one more time, and I smiled. Because everything was different now. Not perfect, but different. Better. So here's my question for you. What's your found family story? Who proved to you that blood isn't the only thing that binds us? Who stayed when they didn't have to? Who showed up when it mattered? Share your story below. Because we all need reminders that love isn't just about who we're born to. It's about who chooses us and who we choose back. Thanks for listening, and remember, you're not replaceable. You never were.